Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Know Your Scales Challenge. Blank piece of paper. You can see there's no assistance here, right? But blank piece of paper, and I'm going to write out the 12 major scales. Okay, so there's a trick to the 12 major scales, and that's what I'm going to show you today. 12 major scales. All right, it's good to have this stuff in your head as opposed to needing a piano or a keyboard all the time. So this is the trick. The key of C is what everyone knows. And we know that in the alphabet you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's how the scales are. So in the key of C, it's C, D, E, F, G. Just like in the alphabet, A. I need another pen. My pen's dead. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the first one. Easy, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the first scale. That's C major, right? C major. Now, you know the trick for C sharp major? Here's a trick for C sharp major. Write this out exactly as is. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. This is C sharp major we're about to do. We're going to add the sharp to C, the sharp to D, the sharp to E, F. We're going to add a sharp. G, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp. Done and dusted. This is your C sharp major. The trick is to add the sharps where you need to. So we added this as an anomaly because a lot of people think this doesn't exist. But if you wanted to name your notes correctly, you got to put sharps wherever you start with a sharp, right? You got to keep it consistent. You can't mix sharps and flats. So we have E sharp, which is really F. And the reason why we do this as well is we can't have two Fs in this scale. We can't have an F and an F sharp. So you have to distinguish the notes. Note independence is a rule. So this is how you would do it. The same for B sharp. B sharp is really code name for C. But because we have C sharp, we're not going to repeat our Cs. Is this making sense? Good. You probably know where this is going. We're going to do this for the key of D. And we'll have D, E, F, G, A, B, C. D for starters, right? Because the alphabet must be consistent. We must have one A, one B, one C, one D, one E, one F, one G. Okay? In this case, D plus 1 will give an E, plus 1 gives an F sharp. Because remember the formula? The formula for major scales, just in case you forgot, is do plus 1 plus 1 plus half plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus half. So if you apply this to any key, you can find out what the notes are. And this is really just the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do. Back to do. So if you apply this to D as we were doing, this will be a D, plus 1 will be an E, plus 1 will be an F sharp. Plus half will bring you back down to the G. Plus 1 would be an A, plus 1 would be a B, plus 1 would be a C sharp. And plus half would be D. So that's how you derive the notes. You apply the major scale formula. And with the major scale formula and this trick I'm showing you, you will have no problem identifying the notes in the scales. So this is D major. All right, let's move on to the next one. What note comes after D, chromatically speaking? You could say E flat or you could say D sharp, but I want to keep it very simple for you. Okay, and I also want you to learn along the way. So let's go for a flat this time. We could have used D sharp, but we're going to go with a flat just to illustrate how you would work it. So if we're doing an E flat, you would have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, right? E flat major, here we go. Now, everything here would have to be some sort of flat, except not needed. So in this instance, we have E flat. E flat plus 1 is F. F plus 1 is G. Now, G, do plus 1 plus 1 plus half. We're going up half. It would be G sharp, but we already have a G, so we got to name it a flat. So this would be A flat. This will be B flat. So do plus 1 plus 1 plus half plus 1 is C plus 1 is D plus half is E flat. You see how these scales are formed? There is a method to the apparent madness. Okay, let's go to number 5. What comes after E flat? E, of course. So we'll just write this out as we did before. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Do plus 1, this is going to be F sharp. So we use sharps in this example I'm doing. It's not to say you couldn't use something else, but we'll make it consistent with sharps, right? So do plus 1 would be G sharp, plus half would be A, plus 1 would be B, plus 1 from B to 1 is a C sharp, plus 1, this is going to be a sharp as well, and then plus half is E, and this is the E major scale. Is this stuff making sense so far? Well, I'm hoping it is. Why don't we go on to part 2? So, in part 2, we're going to continue from where we stopped. Number 6, the next is F. So, we follow that same pattern, F, G. Then it starts again, A, B, C, D, E, F. All right, this is going to be our F major. F plus 1 plus half. Plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus half. Easy peasy. That's why you only have one black note on the key of F. Okay, all right. Let's go on to G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You see, they all have to follow this configuration. Now I got a little bit carried away. Actually, after F should be F sharp. But let's say we are going to call that thing G flat. You hardly ever call it G flat. But let's say for this illustration, you wanted to call it a G flat. Can you figure out how you would maneuver the flats? This would be a flat. This would be a flat plus 1 plus another one. This would be a flat. Now plus half, this would have to be a flat. This would have to be a flat. You get it? Then plus 1, this would have to be a D flat. Plus 1, an E flat. Plus 1, an F, and then plus half. So this is a tough one because I normally call this F sharp. I hardly ever call it G flat. But if we were going to name that key, that note, relative to G flat, yeah, we would have to call this do plus 1 plus half, which would be a B. So again, really a white note that we're calling a black note, or we're calling a flat rather, plus 1 plus 1 plus half. So F stayed as is, even though, when we're naming it relative to F sharp, we would call this something else. So why don't we do this? Let's just use F sharp as well. All right, so we have F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So we're going to name this F sharp. Now I want you to look at the difference. This will be F sharp. This will be G sharp. C. This one will be A sharp. This would be B. Then this would be C sharp. So you can see the note revealed. This would be C sharp. This would be D sharp. Now this would have to be, yes, this would be very odd. This would be E sharp. You see how it messes with you. This would be E sharp. So this again would be on this end. This would be an anomaly. This would be an anomaly. We typically don't call that note F, E sharp, but in this case, for the consistency's sake, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, F sharp. Yeah. So this is an example of how you could call this a G flat major, or you could say this is F sharp major. Same note. You're seeing the craziness. It's the same note, but different names. You see, there's absolutely no similarity in how this is named and how this is named, a stark difference. So I'm hoping this is helping your brain adjust. Especially for those of you who are not like humongous readers of music. So there you have it. There's the first 7. So we got 5 left. If you're enjoying it, smash the like button, and we're gonna go to our next one, okay? It's a very good mental exercise, and these are some of the things I did to get my theory down pat, to know my notes, to know what was what, to know my chords. See, like, looking at this, you should be able to identify your chords, all your triads, all your major triads. That's do, mi, so, that's do, mi, so there. You should be able to identify each one. Just looking, you can almost visualize that you're playing, the piano like that. So here we go with our 12 major scales. Part 2. All right, because part 1 was that, and this is part 2. Now we're going to numbers 8 to 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And actually, if you follow along, it might be quite helpful to you. So we did F sharp. Now we're going to G. This is going to be G. This is going to be G sharp. This is going to be A. This is going to be B flat. And this is going to be B. Okay? So can you fill in the gaps? Let's see if you're able to mentally figure it out. Mentally. We're used to working out in the piano gym with our fingers, but today we're working out with our brain. All right, so G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G sharp, it has to follow the A, B, C, D, E, F, G configuration. We're just going to do these all at once so you see how they unfold. F, G, A. All right, let's hit these first. So this is do plus 1 plus 1 plus half plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. E plus 1 is an F sharp. So that's G major straight away. Okay. G sharp, we have to keep it consistent by calling them sharps. G sharp, A sharp, B sharp. That's just how we have to do it, right? Because remember, if you have a sharp, the rest should have sharps where appropriate. But if you have a naturally occurring note being the right note, then we leave it as that. So this is really C. This is a C sharp because do plus 1 plus 1 plus half. So this half is really from C to C sharp. Plus 1, D sharp, plus 1, another anomaly. See that? So this is really your F when you think about it. So do plus 1 plus 1 plus half plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus half. So G sharp, what comes before G sharp? So this is going to be really strange. So if we are following the sharp convention, right, and this is G sharp, when you get here and you've got F, well, you gotta add a 1. So this is F plus 1. This cannot be called F, right? Neither can it be called F sharp. Why is that? Well, you can't call this F sharp because it's 1 away from the end. This has to be half away from the end. So this is going to be double sharp, which is going to mess with you even more. You see, so if you follow the sharp convention, you can't call this G. You got to name it in this order: G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Can't be F, can't be F sharp. We can't write this as G because the end is G sharp. You get what I'm saying? So this is probably one of the biggest head scratches for those of you who haven't ventured into this territory, which is very, very strange. Very, very strange indeed. Okay? All right, we're exercising our mental muscles, my friends. Let's continue. Do plus 1 is a C sharp, right? Plus half is a D, plus 1 is an E, plus 1 from E, F sharp. From F sharp, remember, this is a plus 1. This is going to be G sharp, and then plus half gives us A. So this is A major. All right. B flat. Very easy, this one. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And that's it. B flat, right, is where it ends. So do plus 1 plus half. We're going to name it flat, all right? So this will be, all right? So do plus 1 plus half. From E flat to here is 1. From here to G is 1. Now from G to A is also 1. And then from A to B flat, half. So we only have 2 flats here, so it's not that bad. B flat major. The craziest of them all so far has got to be that G sharp major. All right, over to B. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. This is going to be B major. Now with B major, we apply that same formula that I showed you a little bit ago. Just for a reminder, for those of you who didn't see the video with the formula, this is the formula. This is the formula. Do plus 1 plus half plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus half. Okay, that's how we applied it to D. Now, if we apply it to B, just for context, B plus 1 is C sharp, plus another one is going to be a D sharp, plus half brings it down to E, right? Plus 1 takes it to F sharp, plus another one takes it to G sharp. So we're making it consistent. B, C, D, E, F, G. And then plus another one takes it to A sharp. And then plus half takes it to B. So that's how you apply the formula. So we can now fill this in easily. Our work has been done. So we have C, D, E, C, D, F, G, and A being the sharps. Doesn't this look kind of familiar? These are all those notes that you have above the white notes, the black notes, right? These are all black notes. So if you were to run a pentatonic F sharp major scale or pentatonic E flat minor scale, you will never go wrong playing on the key of B. Did that ever occur to you? Because these are all black notes. So if you just randomly play black notes on the key of B, you won't get in trouble. Anyway, let's fill this in. So we have B, C sharp, D sharp, and F, G, and A. Those are all our black notes, and there's our B major. So my friends, over the past couple of episodes, we've been playing around with these major scales. We've been mentally going over them without a keyboard, without anything like that. And we've done all the 12. Boom. Okay, I hope that inspires you to check out more on your theory and know where all the notes are. Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I gotta go. Bye for now. Smash the like button. I'll see you next time.